Welcome to the Drunk Linux User. I'm Len. I am the Drunk Linux User. And I hope that you had a healthy, happy, and safe New Year's Eve and that this morning you didn't wake up with a pounding head. I want to start off this new year, 2022, with an apology to the Linux Mint developers and community. I opened my mouth last year and talked about Linux Mint's theming, and I was only partially right in what I said because I didn't complete my thought. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what I said and where I went wrong with everything. So we're going to bring up our little video from before. This is what I said. So I'm kind of like that old-fashioned guy, right? Okay. Linux Mint, back to Linux Mint. I'm doing the video on Linux Mint, and out of the box, honestly, this is, I'm sorry, I don't like it. I think it's ugly as sin, but that's a little harsh, and it's also not entirely true. When I went through and I showed the slides, I'm showing the slides off from their website, and it's just using a very, very basic theme. If you like that theme, that's your thing. For me, it's not. It's just not my thing at all. So what I've done repeatedly, and you can see this on all my different videos, I've gone through and I keep changing my themes. And I wanted to show you that when you're working with a Linux Mint theme, you can actually make it look very, very nice. And this is a dark theme, and Mint Y Dark, and I'm using the red version. You can use Aqua, you can all sorts of things. You can change the icons to anything that you want. You can also bring in your own if you want as well. But out of the box, the half-truth is I do think that it's kind of ugly, but you can change it really easily. The same argument can be said about Gnome, can be said about XFCE. Not so much KDE or Deepin or some of these others elementary. They have their own uniqueness and style. But for this particular desktop environment, Cinnamon, I'm hoping that when they come out with their 20.3 Una, which is supposed to be out soon, that the new theme is going to be really, really nice. So let's get that out of the way. And I'm sorry again to the Linux developers and community. I didn't really mean to trash it all that much. So, speaking of theming, Gnome is going to be changing how they do their desktop as well. They're going to be using something called libedweta. Instead of just edweta, it's going to be libedweta, and it's going to standardize the way that Gnome operates. So this is kind of how it's going to look. They're a little bit behind the times as far as the flat theming thing goes, but there you go. It seems like everything old is new again, is new again, is new again. But what this does is it standardizes the programs so that when developers are creating their new programs and applications for Linux, there's a consistent guideline, which is apparently having some difficulties with the current Edweta style sheets and such. So this is what it's going to look like, and there's a nice article here in OMG Ubuntu. I'm going to leave the links for this and their link as well from Adrian Plazas regarding libedweta if you want to read up more about it. There's a lot of developers who have been frustrated with theming artists who have come up with a new theme that doesn't work with their program, even though the developers are using the correct implementations. Sometimes the themings just won't go right, and so this is just an attempt to try to make things better. Now, one of the other things that you should note from the OMG website down here at the bottom, let's see, it's pretty optimistic about the future from here. I say that as someone who spent 13 years writing about GTK themes, among other stuff, and enjoying the flexibility of a desktop environment that can be made to look, well, like whatever you want. For one thing, theming capabilities aren't going anyway per se. Libedweta isn't ubiquitous yet, and not every GTK4 theme or app will use libedweta. Plus, and this is important, GTK3 remains available, and tons of other desktop environments out there like Linux Mint Cinnamon, Mate, etc. use it. Those DEs aren't evaporating anytime soon. There's always going to be something that people aren't going to like, and this is probably going to be one of them. But I think that over time, once the standardization and a lot of the bugs get worked out, I think everything's going to be a lot better. So let's go back to our words of wisdom, folks. Don't drive drunk. Don't drink and drive. Try to be a little bit more sober this year, huh? Just kidding. Do what you want. It's your choice. Just make it a good choice, okay? Don't go to eBay, Amazon, or Microsoft Edge all buzzed up thinking you're going to buy the coolest and greatest stuff, because you're probably not going to. Bottoms up. Later, dudes.